Hello, hello, and we're live. Hi, everybody. Good morning, for Good morning, America, and good afternoon to the UK and Europe and wherever you are. Good to see you all. Thanks for being here. And we have our friend Peggy joining us very, very soon. Oh, I think I see her. Hi, Peggy. Yeah, this is going to be I won't say fun. It's pretty intense when you're talking about fundamental religions, and they definitely take the fun out of fundamental, don't they? So, hi, everybody. I'll do some greetings while we're waiting for Peggy to get set up in her little studio there. And Peggy, you can come in anytime you're ready. We've got Tamber June. Hi, so good to see you. Hey, y'all, I'm up early today. All right. What a miracle. So glad to be awake when you're live, Marilyn. So glad to see you here. Rachel. Hey, Rachel. Darn, I thought I was going to make today's live. Forgot I had a 10 meeting. That's okay. You can do the replay. Thank you for popping in. And Tony. Hey, there you are.
Hey, hi.
Hi, I can hear you.
Sorry,
How you
everybody.
doing?
I had to bring all my equipment down to my living room because my son is like sound asleep. So
Oh, no problem. I'm just gonna pop my headphones in, which I forgot to do. Hey, so here we are.
it's been a while since we've gotten talk together.
I know. I hope you had a nice holiday season and Happy New Year.
Right, I know. You've been really busy though. I've been watching you and you've been so busy. You've had so much going on.
Yeah, I got a little scared today, guys. Like I'm very disheveled. My hair's still damp. I'm kind of a mess. I woke up not feeling good. I actually
Oh,
took my temperature. I was worried. And then I just took some ibuprofen and I'm feeling better. But I have
that's good.
three streams today, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so you're the first. So probably gonna have you do a lot of the talking
That's fine. You
to
know me.
preserve my voice. No, this is
Um
great.
Yeah, I think you've got a big one tonight with Mike Brown, right?
Yeah, 7 o'clock Eastern. We're gonna talk about it's Ask an SP. I'm gonna ask him about Scientology, sex checks and interrogations, which I thought was good, very, very fitting to ask an Army guy and
Appropriate
also
for him. Yeah.
an ex-Scientologist. And we'll see what happens with AA Ron. We're supposed to go on sometime this afternoon. You
Yeah,
never
yeah.
know. You never know.
No.
So yeah, so it's a big day. I was just saying some hellos to look at this. No Talk Tony changed her thing. Polly boobies. I love it. I love it. Atypical Paul. Atypical Paul, I watched your stream. He did a live stream. I had to watch the replay because I think I was live at the same time. But he unveiled the Rodney that
Oh,
with
that's
the
right.
mustache, the 2 foot one. It was great. It was great.
That's awesome.
I like your channel, Atypical Paul. It's great. Very good content. And we've got Lene. Hey, Lene. Good to see you. Denise. Oh, look at the puppy. Oh, precious,
This is
precious.
my little Crockett.
Aw, Crockett. He's so cute.
Hey,
Super
bud.
cute. We got our friend Joel. Hey,
Hi,
Joel. So good to
Joel.
see
Good
you.
morning.
Good to see you.
All right.
Shambot finally caught another live. Yay. Ex-Fundie free Will Baptist kid here. Oh, boy. A lot
Okay.
of them. A lot of them. Patty.
Yes.
Patty, so good to see you. Great to see you. Thank you for coming. Peace be the journey. Well, we got people pouring in. Amy Lee SP. Good morning. Good morning. Maxine. Oh, some new names and names I haven't seen in a little while. We got the Dirty Mouse. All right. Good to see you, Dirty Mouse. Creepy B5. Hi, sweetie.
Hi, creepy.
Hello. Violet. Hi, Violet. Maya. Awesome, awesome. So glad to
Hey,
see
good
all of you.
morning.
Morning. Susan P. Creepy. Who else we got? Janet from Another Planet. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you for listening, Patty. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Good to see everybody. And here we are. We've been talking about doing this Fundie Doc Talk for a while. I tried to watch the rest of it. I had watched the first 2 episodes. We're just I'll tell you, I had to take a little break. And
Good ya.
last night I was watching and it's just so heartbreaking. It's just
It
oh
is. It
awful.
is.
It goes from
Mhm.
bad to worse and then worser and
Right,
badder and
right.
mm,
Mhm.
yeah,
Right. And like some of them have gotten justice and some of them looks like never will,
yeah, yeah.
with the whole statute of limitations thing, which is disgusting in these cases.
Absolutely. When you're talking about and we should take this opportunity to just put
Yep.
out a very strong trigger
Mhm.
warning, content warning here, guys. We're going to be talking about child abuse, child SA, and other terrible things. One thing I would like to maybe do, Peggy, is have you present like a background and some of your research. And I was thinking we could maybe draw some parallels because I like to, kind of compare things and keep it timely too, because we're looking at a huge I don't know what to even say, this movement in the
Yeah.
ex-Scientology world, and there's just new life being breathed into it, and it's just
Mhm.
the momentum is building. And I'm thinking about, all of the things, that the parallels I was seeing as I was watching this documentary, and reading Wikipedia and some articles about this, and then what you sent me this morning about even infighting. So
Right.
there's so many different directions we could take this in, but I thought maybe you could give us an overview of what we're talking about and what we're looking at here with this
Right.
independent fundamental Baptist
Right.
cult.
Um, so, I like to just make the little disclaimer that we're not talking about anything else besides the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist Church. And this is the, you know, the very strict guys, the guys who think that men rule the world and women are pretty much the slaves. So we're not talking about any other types of Baptists, any other
Right.
types of evangelicals. um but this independent fundamentalist Baptist church was kind of started by this guy named Jack Hyles. He's one of the guys that they're going to talk about a lot in the documentary. Jack Hyles, he started this church in I've got all my notes here, so I just want to
Okay.
check to
And
make sure that
what
I'm right.
I think this was on Amy Lee wanted to know what platform. I think it was on Amazon Prime,
Amazon.
but I think it was the is it Discovery? What's
Oh
that?
yes. It was originally on Investigation Discovery.
Okay. Yeah.
So Max, maybe.
Think I was streaming it last night on what's that one? It's my Prime Video, but I think it's an extra streaming
Yeah,
thing. I can't remember what
probably.
it's called. Yeah, something Discovery. Yeah.
hmm
So I just wanted to put that out there in case people wanted to watch it. Yeah.
So this waste of human skin named Jack Hyles in 1959, he took over an American Baptist church, okay, in Indiana. Most of the members of the church at the time ended up actually leaving because they didn't like his like fire and brimstone type of preaching. But in 59 and back in that time, that's when like a lot of like the tent revivals were happening and things like that.
Mhm.
So you were seeing a lot more of this, really strict, hell is real, Satan's gonna come get you kind of preaching, right?
Right. End times. Yeah. Be
Yeah.
ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All of this started to prop up so much more, especially in the South. But you've got these kind of more conservative Midwest states too, like Missouri and Indiana, which a lot of this has happened in. So Jack Hiles, it says that he kind of started the Independent Fundamental Baptist, I'll call it IFB. He kind of started these churches in a way, I guess. I don't know if he would be considered like the founder, but he did, in his way, start them. And he started this movement of like, men pretty much being the ultimate on top. We've got the umbrella, right? I hate that term so much, but we've got our umbrella of authority, and in these churches, we've talked so much about this already, that the men are the very top. God is above them, but come on, really? That there's no God in their lives, right? And it has really given these guys the excuse to become pedophiles, to become what they have become. There's no oversight whatsoever. And so I found out that with Jack Hiles and his church, there has been a long string, and I can get into it later, a long string of these like sexual assaults and just all of this horrible stuff, okay? Molestation and stuff like that. And with Jack, we meet this lady named Nanette Miles. And Nanette is who we're going to talk about in a little while as far as what's been going on within the actual group of cast members. There's some infighting going on. And Nanette has felt like she's been left out of the group. But Jack has a son named David. And Nanette was... I'm not even going to say allegedly in this, okay? I don't care. Come after me. I'm not going to say allegedly. Nanette was repeatedly assaulted by this man named David Hiles. And one of the most heartbreaking parts for me of this series was when she went back to the church and she tried to talk to somebody there, and they just kicked her out. They're like, we know who you are. Get out. We don't want to hear what you have to say. That really, I know like Scientology does that when you try to go in their places and stuff like that. It's like, she's never going to get justice because the statute of limitations is up, She's never going to get that sort of peace, even though you never have peace, but she's never going to get that, at least the justice part of it, Yeah. And these people in this church have gone on to perpetrate so much more. And I know like she's tried to set up protests in front of the church and things like that, with not very good turnouts. I think her voice just hasn't really reached as far as the other ladies' voices have for some reason. But that's who Jack and Nanette are. And then we have this cast of characters. And what I found interesting also talking about Nanette is that she was a big part of the story, but she's not in any of the marketing. She's not in any of the advertising. So the people that you see in the advertising are Ruthie Heiler. She went to Grace Baptist School in Michigan, and she was molested by a man named Aaron Willard. Aaron was her teacher and her volleyball coach, which I have a question about that. Why is there so much volleyball in fundamentalist churches?
I know, and even Nexium.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Why is the volleyball the chosen sport?
I don't know.
A lot of churches in the Midwest have softball leagues. Like softball is their chosen sport. I just think it's so funny.
It's wild.
Ruthie actually, so she started something that's pretty cool. She started something called the Blind Eye Movement. And I followed them on Facebook and Instagram. She it's a nonprofit, and she just wants to help anybody who's been abused as children by like religious leaders. So she wants to help them, get support. She wants to help them legally, stuff like that. So that's, one of those cases of like, trying to find the good out of the bad, which is, what a lot of these people do, which is fantastic. That's what Marilyn does,
Skimpy, volleyball uniforms. You're probably right, poet. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Looking at those legs, the forbidden legs that they're never allowed to look at, right?
Mm.
One of the other stories follows a woman named Kathy Durbin, and Kathy was assaulted by a man named Paul Fox, and we hear from Paul's, I think, sister-in-law, right, in the documentary. And he was somebody that sounds like a sneaky snake, He sounds like a worm.
Yep.
Like he was into the grooming. He really groomed her, and he started off with, I guess, being kind of like a father figure to her because she didn't really have one. And then he ends up like gifting her with lingerie, and it's like, that's a little inappropriate. And
she was very young at the time. I can't remember how young she was.
But she was a teenager for sure.
Yeah.
And then the person who replaced Paul, his name was Victor Montiero. And so we hear from two women who were abused by him. We hear from April Avila and Rachel Peach. And those were the two women, I think, who were sitting together on the floor, which I was thinking the whole time.
So
like,
they were sisters.
how? No, they
Wow,
became really close friends because of this. But I'm thinking the whole time, like, how badly my knees would be hurting by sitting on the floor.
Me too.
I'm like, because I know, when we talked to Lindsay Williams, she said she was interviewed for Shiny Happy People for like 5 hours. And I'm thinking, how long are these women sitting on the floor? My knees were hurting just looking at them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same here. Same here.
So I found it just really interesting. So that was all the same church. I don't remember what church it was, but I didn't write that down. But so Paul Fox and Victor Montiero, that was the same church, and it was covered up by the same people. So that one, I don't know. I mean, they all got to me, but that one was kind of rough. And then the last one I wanted to talk about, she's a girl named Amanda Householder, which is a really interesting name. I felt like it was like Amish or something. It was just really interesting.
Right. Yeah.
But she went to a church that her parents ran, and her parents also had this school. Like, okay, I'm going to say
school. A boarding school.
It's not a school. One of the things that I'm researching for That's So Effed Up podcast is all about the troubled teen industry, and Ashley and I have been working on it for quite a while. And so this is exactly that. This is one of those horrible, awful, abusive. They call them schools. They're obviously not schools. The only education that these girls got was I wanted to ask if you'd heard of this one. Unfortunately, I have so many notes, I may not even be able to find it.
All right.
I didn't even put them in order or anything. Anyways, it's called Accelerated Christian Education. I didn't know if you'd heard of that one or not.
ACE. Yes, I did it.
Oh, okay.
I did it. Yes.
Okay.
I was at a Baptist for a half a year, my sophomore year. My adopted mom decided she put her, my younger two sisters at her biological girls before she started homeschooling them. She put them in this Baptist Christian school, and it was very strict. You had to wear, long skirts and all that. And I went for a half a year. I got kicked out. I never really tell that in my story just because there's just so much, I got kicked out for reading a Christian book, but it was about prostitutes that found the Lord. So they saw it at my desk and you did Ace too? Yeah. I did terrible at it because I was not a good you have to be a self-starter, and it's like a PACE program,
Uh-huh.
where you have to like
Uh-huh.
sit in these cubicles. I don't know if you Shambot, if you had the same experience, but yeah, and we didn't play volleyball, we played kickball, but I remember having like a denim skirt that was down to my
Oh,
shins,
jeez.
trying to kick a
Oh,
ball.
no. And then run.
Insane. Running with stuff. Insane. Insane. But I remember we were sitting in these little cubicles and I was trying to pass notes to the kid next to me and everything. I was always getting in trouble all the time. And I remember you had these little flags. You had to put up the flag. It was a Christian flag for if you needed help with with a certain subject, and then an American flag. I just remember that. But I
Weird.
didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything.
No, I can how can you? I mean, you're not I know you're definitely not learning history and science.
No, it was all yeah. I mean, there was one girl that just she just aced the books. She went through the ACE program like crazy. I was still on the first one probably by the end of the semester. But it was very yeah, it was very hokey, like very Bible based, but to the point where I didn't learn a thing at all.
Mm.
Really didn't.
That's really funny. Well,
Yeah.
so that's just what the girls used was the ACE program, and
Mhm.
they were required to stay at this place for at least 2 years. 2 years. That is insane to me. Like, how does a parent sign away their child for 2 years? Because you think they're that bad, you know? But I know that these parents are also coerced and they're not told the truth about what's going on and stuff like that. It's one of those things to me that's like, on one hand, I understand. Like, I get that they're coerced. I get that, like, I've done the research, I've read so many stories from parents themselves, and it is awful and heartbreaking. But on the other hand, I'm like, what would my kids have to do to be so bad? You know?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, being a teen in the 90s, I saw some crazy stuff. I saw my friends do some crazy stuff. And a couple of them did get sent away to the troubled teen camps. Or, you know, in
Yeah.
resident rehab or,
Now,
stuff like that.
may
But
I ask you something? So the boarding school, like the one I went to was just a day school. The
mhm.
boarding school that Amanda's parents founded that was Agape, right? There were two of them
N-
they talked
well,
about.
no, so
Circle
okay.
of Hope? Was it Circle of Hope or Agape?
Circle of Hope. And so originally her dad worked at Agape. And so he
Mhm.
had the experience. And Agape is pretty much the worst of all of them. It is currently being taken down.
Good. Thank
Yes. There's a woman named Meg Applegate, and she has a program called Unsilenced Now.
Yes, I've
And
heard of her.
yeah, Meg is amazing.
I've
She's
seen
such a wonderful woman.
I've seen some interviews that she's done, some streams that she's done with Ash. They're
Yep.
really, really good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And Meg is former a member of the troubled teen industry herself, was one of the people kidnapped in the middle of the night and such things. So they are currently taking down Agape. But this program was taken down in 2020. At the time, CPS this is in Missouri, and they, they don't have Missouri doesn't. I don't see. My problem is I don't want to say something really bad. um,
Uh, yeah,
they
the
just don't.
34 people watching won't care.
They just don't have the laws protecting kids that other states do,
Yeah,
and so they will not interfere if it's faith based. They
yeah,
won't interfere, and so parents, students, and former staff members complained about this school for ages, and no one would interfere because it was faith based and they were scared of it. And in Missouri, it's just an extremely conservative, A lot of fundamentalist churches are there,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So the laws aren't necessarily made to protect these kids. If you're in the care of the church, there's not a lot of laws to protect you, unfortunately. So even though
Can
there
we give
were
some
a lot of
examples?
complaints.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so can we give some examples of what we're talking about? Like I wrote down a few things
Yeah.
about agape and probably agape
Mhm.
and circle of hope. I know they did some of these things, but it was a boarding school. The parents would just drop them off. They
Yep.
didn't know what was going on when the parents would come visit, and the girls would try to tell their mom or dad or both what was going on. They'd say, "Oh, the your teachers already prepared me that you would lie about them and say this and that." You
Mhm.
know, so didn't believe them. So some
Yep.
of the disciplinary actions they afflicted onto them was one thing. It was like standing on the wall. They would have to stand against the wall for hours and hours and hours and hours and
Mhm.
hours and hours. It wasn't just time out, right? Another
Right.
thing is they would literally restrain, and this is the type of thing that goes on in a lot of these troubled teen industry
Yeah.
prisons, right? With restraining, right? This girl Amanda was she had to do this to little kids. She was used as, talk about moral
Mhm.
injury. She
Mhm.
was used, and she said she hated it, and a lot of times she didn't do it and she'd get in trouble for it. But
Right.
she and little girls as young as 6, right, they would basically like tackle them, have 4 people laying on them. The her father,
Mm.
Amanda's father, would kneel on their head. Like I feel sick
I
just
know.
thinking about this.
I know.
And they would be picking the gravel off of the child's face at the end.
Mhm.
And that's not restraining. That's just
It's just
torture.
torture.
It's
Mhm.
horrible.
Mhm.
The thing that really got me, oh, and that those got me, but this get right room. So
Yeah.
they would lock these children alone in a room that was the size of a closet for up
Mhm.
to 3 days. 3 days.
Mhm.
Now, just because it's faith-based, this is okay. Absolutely disgusting, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Uh-huh.
Absolutely horrible.
Mhm.
And how can they get away with this and call it discipline? It's just, oh,
No.
it's
No, I don't
terrible.
understand. And you know, when there's stuff that actually goes against the Geneva Convention because it's so torturous and awful,
Yeah, yeah,
how is it okay? I don't understand. Our soldiers can't even do this stuff to war criminals, you know? And yet
exactly.
it's okay for a pastor to do it to a child? I'm not ever, no one is ever going to get me to understand that. There's no way. There's no way that there is a law that protects a man from doing this shit to little kids.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah.
way. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I was thinking, Peggy, I want to get your thoughts on this and anybody in the chat is certain themes we're seeing over and over and over with
Mhm.
these cults. I'm
Mhm.
gonna just say it for what it is, right? The child SA, the abuse of authority, the corporal punishment. You see it in Scientology,
Mhm.
the constant um like indoctrination and propaganda and
Yeah.
crazy dogma. Seems to be like all these cover-ups and everything. Like there's one trend that I'm seeing too is all these stories coming out years and years later of child SA, and instead of dealing with it, they if they realizes that they're going to get in trouble, they take that person. Happens in Jehovah's Witnesses,
Yep.
happens in Scientology, it
Mhm.
happens all over. They take them and move them and give them another
Group
place
of children.
of to abuse, right? And the same level of authority, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Mhm. They're a Sunday school teacher here, they're a Sunday school teacher there. They're a deacon here, they're a deacon there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Disgusting. And in the troubled teen industry, what they'll do is they'll close a camp and then they'll move it somewhere else and just rename it.
right.
It's
Yeah,
same people, same situation. They'll just move it and rename it so that when you Google that name, it's like, oh, this place closed, you know?
they did that in Scientology with those ranch the ranch. They were like,
Right.
"Oh, well, those were independent." You know, they
Right.
no, they really weren't because they were marketing those ranches.
Mhm.
And a lot of those kids, that were Sea Org children or children of public were sent there for
Mhm.
basically reprogramming, you
Right.
know?
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
horrible.
They're starved and they're tortured, and that is the, the playbook for how to reprogram, brainwash,
Mhm,
you know, get them to believe whatever you want them to believe. The starvation, the torture, the no sleeping, all of
mhm.
that is the playbook for all of these things, and that's what they're doing to children with extremely underdeveloped brains.
Right. I was just thinking that the lack well, the bite model, right?
Yeah.
And the lack of, outside information, of actual education,
Hmm.
heavy labor, free
Yes.
labor that they get from
Yes.
them. That's
Hmm.
another thing the girls in this documentary testified as, just
Yeah.
the constant, the labor, the indoctrination, the torture. And I was thinking of, this too, is that I don't know the official definition of trafficking. There's even been a little bit of, pushback here and there
Uh-huh.
in this ex-Scientology space, is like, "Oh, you can't call it trafficking. You can't say that every child in Scientology that were, in those type of situations where they were being moved from org to org,
Hmm.
were, quote, trafficked by their parents." I don't know what the official, thing is, but it sure as hell looks like it to me. And I don't know if you saw Kelly Copter's interview with, her name is Bianca.
Hmm.
She, um, said she was a Scientologist from the age 2. She was, like, basically one of those cadet kids, and, she was told, I can't remember how old she was, very young, teen or tween, that she was being traded to another org.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like a sports player, or like a Pokemon card.
or like a slave,
Um,
you know?
so I've also been working on human trafficking with Ashley too. And one of the definitions I did come across was moving people from one place to another um, for labor purposes. So labor can be sex work or can
Mhm,
be physical labor. Um, so that's one of the definitions I came across as far as like legal, like arresting people for human trafficking.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I know it's one of those terms that's contested all the time. And yeah, they say, well, it's like when people say you can't call everything a cult. Or they say, well, you can't say everyone is human trafficked. Well, but millions of people are human trafficked actually on a daily basis.
Right,
So
right.
yes, you can probably call a lot of what you're saying human trafficking,
And these kids are being, quote, "traded," again,
They are.
across
Mhm.
state lines. If you have 2 parents that are split up, that have, joint custody or whatever of a child, and the one parent takes them out of the state, that's kidnapping,
It
you
is.
know?
Yep. Yep.
So, what is it when it's a creepy culty camp,
Yeah. Yeah.
another kind of triple C,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and the parent, I get the parent signs them over, but, yeah,
Mhm.
and I get that the parent thinks that they're doing the right thing because they're brainwashed too,
Yep.
but that's when I just wanna shake them, and
Yeah.
I needed to be shaken. I needed to be shaken. I didn't, quote, "traffic
Right.
my children."
No.
I was still with them, but I did allow the call to do things they shouldn't have been able to do to my
Mhm.
children.
Mhm.
So,
Right, right.
yeah,
A lot of times, so much of this is done without parental knowledge too. Parents don't even
absolutely.
know that their kids are moving from one place to another, or they're going to be lied to about it. Well, your child was so bad that we had to put them in this other camp for even worse kids, or they're going to be lied to, or they're not even going to be told. I've I've read so many accounts of parents that didn't even know where their children were. And since they had legally signed their children over, they weren't allowed to find out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be just terrifying. If I don't know where my kids are for like a day, I start
I
to
know.
worry, you know.
I know. I
My
know.
kids are grown-ups and they live like all across the country. They live in different states across the country. And I'm like the kind of mom, like, if you don't text me back within like maybe 24 hours, I start to get pretty antsy, you
Yeah,
know?
me too. Me too. Yeah, absolutely. This is a good point Lovett had. Protecting the petals is something cults do. It's abhorrent, and that's what one thing I was thinking of when you were talking earlier about oh, what was her name? The older lady you were talking about with
Nanette.
yes, Nanette. About Jack Hiles is the loosely, but the founder, the one I look at as the quote charismatic leader to one of the checking off one of the boxes to say that this is definitely a cult, which I
Yeah.
think it is.
Yeah.
His son was David Hiles,
Mhm.
and you've got the allegations, which I think are true of
Yeah.
child SA, and also wasn't it his? I got it written down his stepson, Brett Stevens, there was just this picture of this like adorable, precious little boy
Oh,
that was
yes.
killed by being quote disciplined, which is very reminiscent of The Way Down with Gwen
Yeah.
Shamblin, that whole
Mhm.
thing with that little boy that was tortured
Yeah.
and killed.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you've got this excessive, to say the least, corporal punishment going on and children dying. And this is the founder's son who's doing all this, and
Yeah.
it's being covered up. And
Oh yeah.
I saw not to that extreme, obviously, but in my cult, Marlene Sweeney, I like to say her name any chance I get. Her kids could do no wrong, and her grandkids could do no wrong. But my kids were, you know, anathema.
Oh yeah.
We were called on the carpet for nothing.
Mhm.
So
I'm
you see
sure.
that nepotism, the favoritism,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
blind eye. That was a really good way to a really good name
Yeah.
for this movement is the blind eye
I thought
movement.
so. Mhm.
Turning a blind eye to all these little girls and become women, and I just get my hat goes off to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally.
They're doing great work. No matter what.
Rodney's hat would go off to them.
Ladies, Rodney's hat goes off to you.
Yes, yes.
No matter what is going on amongst any of them, they're all still doing great work. They're all
Mhm,
still seeking justice, not only for
mhm,
themselves, but for other people. And I think that's the great part. It's like Liz Ferris, she's fighting for anybody who wants to get their parents out or their families out, And she's not just like, oh, I just want my dad out and I'm done. That's what's so great about some of these movements is these people are fighting for everybody. They're fighting for full change and full responsibility being held. So
mhm.
I love that. um
I do too, and that is a good point about having all having the same um focus or end game, but having
mhm,
different approaches to it. And people are people wherever you go, right? And there's one survivor in particular of my cult that did some really, really horrible, horrible, horrible things to my family. And, Duncan says, like, just because something terrible happened to somebody doesn't necessarily make them automatically a good person.
yep,
So, and he's right.
absolutely.
And he's right. And also, um, you know, even in this ex-Scientology, anti-Scientology movement / space with SPTV. You've got people that don't agree. You've got, factions and infighting and all that. It's going to happen because people are people, but everyone does have the same purpose. Doesn't mean you have to wink and nod and agree with everybody. So,
Hmm.
oh, yes. Yes, we love you,
You're
Liz.
doing
She's
amazing
amazing.
stuff, Liz.
Yes. We love you, Liz, so much, and,
You're right. We
so glad you're
absolutely
here.
don't have to agree, and we absolutely don't have to have the same approach to everything. I mean, there's people that um Aaron didn't like. There's people that doesn't like. There's people that Doug didn't like. There's people that you and I don't necessarily see eye to eye on. There's people, there's people that everybody doesn't like, and whether we're vocal about it or not, I don't necessarily have to be vocal about my thoughts about these people. I can just maybe like quietly unsubscribe or something. But I'm gonna then go about things my own way, and I'm going to form the allies with the people that I trust. And as long as I think the work's getting done, and I don't think that dividing of factions or whatever people want to call it, I don't think that that's stopping the work from getting
Right.
done.
Good
We
point.
all
Yeah.
still, like you said, we all still have the same end game. We all still have the same end game of bringing Scientology down, or bringing them to justice, or at the absolute very, very, very least, getting them not tax exempt anymore,
Right.
which
Yeah.
will end up bringing them down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it all contributes to the the purpose. And people have different focus, different style, different push to do certain things. There's different age groups, there's different schools of thought. And, I'm not saying any of them are wrong. It all contributes. So,
Right, right.
oh, Lori plays. Hey, we've
Hi,
got some
Lori.
we've got some activists in here. We've got Liz Ferris. We've got Lori plays. Amazing job last night in Clearwater. Did you see that? Aaron did a little
No.
audit of they did a little audit of their own in Clearwater, Florida, and it was
Nice.
wild because not only was it Aaron, it was his friend George, who has a new channel, and Lori plays, Tampa B-Man, Barbara, and Clearwater
Awesome.
Clearwater Cheryl all joined up, and they were standing in front of flag, and they were waiting for the bus to come in. And they were very kind to people walking by. There were very few people in this middle of Clearwater with all
Mm,
these shops totally empty. It was
right.
crazy. It was just it's definitely worth watching it.
I will
And
go back and watch it for
and
sure.
they really need more people so that they can go on either end of the building because the buses were just circling. They didn't want to stop because they don't want to see any SPs, right? But you remember how Tampa Brad, which is that guy that does these videos. He had it was the thing about the earring joke or whatever, where he has like an OnlyFans with his wife, and he was making money through his OnlyFans to pay for his Scientology
Yeah.
courses. And so Clearwater Chad, that's where he came from because his name was like Clearwater, like Tampa Brad. So
Oh.
Aaron challenged somebody. I know we're getting a little bit off on a
Uh-huh.
tangent, but Aaron challenged somebody out there. He's like, "Hey, if there's a guy that wants to, call himself Clearwater Chad, I'll platform you," and he did. So
Oh, nice.
that's how Chad was born.
Okay.
Well,
That's
Tampa Bread
funny.
actually came towards the camera and ran up the stairs, and Aaron's like, "It's Tampa Bread," and I saw his face. It totally was him. He's like, "Tampa Bread, it's me, Aaron, your biggest fan." It was so
Oh my gosh. That is
so there was
awesome. I will definitely
yeah.
check it out.
Yeah, so, yeah, of course, the Streets LA thing, that's on Hollywood Boulevard. It's very
Mhm.
busy. There's people walking by all the
Yep.
time. There's a lot of
Mhm.
activity. Clearwater, this was really interesting, though, because when you see in documentaries like the clips of in, the aftermath where they actually went and sat at
Yep.
the park. They sat at the park that Mark
Right.
Munter got kicked out of. The way they were walking, so you could see, like, the vicinity and how empty it is and how big it is or
It's
not big
dead.
or small it is. They panned to they were walking through the whole thing. You could see all the buildings and Fort Harrison Hotel, Tom Cruise's condo. It was wild. It was really wild. And it is very interesting. I just want to say this because I think it's pertinent to what we're talking about the move about testing and movements and getting things done. The younger generation is really rising up. And
Mhm.
the TikTok generation, everything. There
Yeah.
was there were three people that walked by together. There was a couple and a teenage son. And this was really interesting. Um they said hi to Aaron and his gang, and they're like, "Oh, hi," and Aaron said, "Oh, are you going to course?" He's like, "Huh?" He goes, "Oh, you're not a Scientologist?" And they're like, "No, we're not Scientologists." So he's like, "Hey, well, he introduced himself and said what he was doing and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And the father started to kind of walk away. He was, kind of going on his merry way. The son stopped in his tracks and he was staring at Aaron. And it was like he was super interested, the teenage son. And
Nice.
that just struck me. I was like,
Yeah,
it's the next generation
it is.
that is the
Yep.
future,
hmm
so that
Well,
was just a
I
thought
had
I had.
read that Amanda Householder, she got noticed because she had a TikTok account talking about everything that her parents had done. So, and I know like Lindsay Williams has
Yes.
a pretty big TikTok.
Yep.
It's called The Cult Chronicles, if anybody is a TikToker. And I think that us getting out on YouTube is great, but TikTok is such a great platform because it's so many younger people. And if you know how to get that algorithm and you know how to use your hashtags right and stuff like that, you're going to get out to, possibly thousands of people. You're going to be able to spread your word. And
Totally. Yep.
so many people are coming out. What I read was currently in IFB, there are 6,000 churches and 8 million members. That is insane to me. That is bigger
Yeah.
than I thought it was,
Yeah. Wild.
And this is just one Fundie sect,
Yep.
And so this is just one group of people who are women who are being treated this way and boys who are being raised this way,
Mhm.
because when they're little, they don't know any better. They don't know that this is wrong. But when you're raised with an extremely domineering father who beats the crap out of your mom and sisters every day, then how do you think these boys are gonna, grow
Yep.
up to act? They know one day
Yeah.
they're gonna get to be the head of the household, and they're gonna get to beat the crap out of anybody and molest anybody, and
Yeah.
um
It just made me think of what you said last time we talked about the trad wives. How
mm,
they're up there being like this, and then the husband was, he's basically handed this, mini cult.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what a lot of those families are,
hmm
mini
hmm
cults.
Yeah,
Yep.
I hate the tradwife movement so much because it is younger people and it
Mhm.
is really appealing and they make it look so cool. And they talk about sex, which is crazy to me because isn't that supposed to be forbidden, sex education? But they talk about sex pretty freely on their videos. Um and what I found funny was as we were doing more research on these trad wives, they're actually like working. Like these women have full-time jobs. When you
Yeah.
have a
Hmm.
TikTok and an Instagram and you're editing videos all day, that is a full-time job. And you're making money off of it.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
not
Well,
supposed to be working, are
Marlene.
you?
Oh, Marlene was always the exception to the rule too. Like, it's just amazing to me looking back and realizing that she was preaching all of this patriarchal IBLP umbrella of authority crap when she was a woman. But
Mhm.
of course, she was like Deborah in the Bible. So yeah, there's always exceptions to the rules.
Always.
I just want to mention one thing. Peggy is simul streaming to her channel. It's Clarity and Chaos, and I am going to put the link right in the chat here.
Oh, thank you.
So please jump over and subscribe to her. You've got amazing content. She talks about everything, guys, not just cults. You did one with your daughter on Christmas movies. You've
Mhm.
done things like dating after having empty nest syndrome, which is
Yeah,
where Duncan and I was inspired by that stream with you and your husband. We booked the cruise. We're going on a cruise. This will
that
be
is
our
awesome.
very first vacation, our only vacation we've ever had
Oh,
together as a couple.
wow. Oh my goodness.
Besides a little trip we took on our honeymoon up to New Hampshire. And then, I got pregnant and that was the end of that. So 26 years later, we're going on a cruise. And I hope as many of you can
That's cool.
come. That would be awesome. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that I am
please
really
jump over
jealous
and
of
and and
everybody who
subscribe
gets to
to
go to that.
subscribe to Peggy. Jump over there, please. That'd be awesome. So yeah, I know. I wish you could come. I know you have a lot going on right now, but
Mhm.
Cricket's talking about making it an annual thing. So
That
I
would
don't
be
think we
cool.
won't be able to go every year. That would be like too expensive, I think.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely
That would be
wanna.
cool. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah. So yes, thank you, Amy. Awesome.
I
Awesome.
try to stream like twice a week, so I'm considering this one.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm the type of person who will get way too overwhelmed if I try to do like too much. So I'm trying to do like twice a week right now and like force myself. Some days I have to force myself to go on, but it's like, I don't like if you have to force yourself to exercise or you have to force yourself to go out for a walk or something, but then when you're done, you feel really good about it. So I like doing it. It's just my mindset, some days I just gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I count this as my morning musings, and I didn't expect to have 3 streams in one day. It just kinda
Yeah.
landed. There have been a few days in the last couple weeks that I haven't had any streams, but
Hmm.
I just wanna pop this up. Tony said, "Marilyn, are you and Duncan gonna renew your vows on the cruise?" 'Cause I had said I was half joking that, Marlene was ordained by some wacky cult,
Mm.
some other wacky cult, and I said, "Oh, I don't know, if we're official, but we are because we do have a marriage certificate and we've been married so long." It would be, yeah, it would be like, what do you call that? I forgot, like common law
Oh,
marriage.
yeah, civil,
But
mhm.
I I did I did pose the idea to Duncan, Tony. He's like, "Well, I meant it 26 years ago when I said it. Why do I gotta do it again?"
Aw.
So, I think he would, but his thing was that it was real to him. So, and he still feels it. So, he doesn't feel
Yeah,
like he needs to renew it, but I think it would be, even just doing this is like a renewal of our marriage. Because yeah,
just renewal of your,
commitment or
yeah,
whatever.
commitment
Yeah.
is the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. We
Yeah.
My husband and I were supposed to renew our vows next or this Ja just July is our 25th anniversary. We were supposed to because, my wedding was just it wasn't good. It was very stressful, not a good day. We didn't enjoy it. We didn't get to enjoy each other, things like that. Just,
Oh, the
in-laws and too
poet
many
said it was his
people.
idea. Ah,
Oh, cute.
poet. I wish you could go so you could, I could see Poet performing weddings. I don't know
Yes.
why. Couldn't you?
Yes.
I could
Poet,
totally see
are
him.
you ordained?
He
Or you
needs to
could
get
be.
ordained.
Yeah. Well, my husband is going overseas now, so we're not going to get to even be together on our anniversaries, which is
Oh.
very typical for us. We've spent more than half of our marriage apart, so it's like it is what it is. But I am a little disappointed because I wanted to do like a cute little beach thing with just us and the kids, and oh
Yeah.
well.
Oh,
I
Lori
mean,
said,
he is going to be on a beach where he goes, but it's not the kind of fun
"Is it?"
beach.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere in the Middle East. Yeah, yikes.
Hmm.
Yikes. Lori plays just a way to celebrate all the SBTV folks could watch. Yeah, but then there would be pictures, and I hate pictures of myself. Isn't it funny? I'm always in front of camera, but it's not my full, not my full
Hmm.
girth.
Yeah, no, I definitely
But
would have to lose some weight if we were to do it.
yeah, I know I'm a little bit vain. All right. You are an ordained priest? I knew it. I'm actually an
Cute.
ordained priest from my flirtation. Oh, the LDS church. Oh, hopeless romantic. I knew that about you. I knew that
Oh,
about
love
you.
it says, where did that one go? My dog pushed my arm away.
Oh, $11 online. All right then.
Cute.
All right.
I
Maybe
told
Lori plays. Could you get ordained, Lori? Or if you're not already, she seems like she'd be ordained too. I don't know. Gotta get Lori ordained. Creepy says she's back.
Thank you, everybody who subscribed to me. I appreciate that.
Yay. Yes, please jump over and subscribe. Let me share that again. And I see that my hubby's in the chat. His is easy to remember. It's at Freeze and Eagle. Do you know he has a channel now?
I do. I do. I
Yeah.
subscribed. That's
Oh, good.
awesome. I
He's
knew it would be just a matter of time.
And I heard on the other side of the wall from his from his office. He's banging things. He's setting it when he does something. He does it up, right? So he's got his stud finder and his his tool belt, and he's banging things and hanging things up and making it really nice. So
I love it.
yeah, yeah. So he's at Freezing Eagle, and Peggy is. You got some underscores. That's why I'm putting the thing in there.
Right, right.
Yeah. Because I tried to find you just by doing clarity and chaos, and it didn't come up.
I know, it's kind of annoying. It was one of those things where I had like, apparently there's several of us, but when I looked, everybody
I'm a
was
stud
like
finder.
a little bit different content. So I still felt comfortable taking the name, But
Yeah.
my nickname has been Chaos ever since my kids were really tiny. So I always like keep the name Chaos with me, and sometimes I change it. Sometimes I'm Happy Chaos, or sometimes this was actually, I found clarity in chaos by typing in like, I need suggestions for this type of podcast, and I typed it in the chat GPT, and it came up with
Oh,
a bunch of like really good ideas, and clarity and chaos was one of them.
nice. That's great. I love it. I love it. So I want to go through some of the starred, and I probably shouldn't stay on too long because I have so many
Yeah, for sure.
other things going on today. And I'll tell you, I was getting nervous because I woke up feeling like crap.
Yeah.
So somehow by miracle, the ibuprofen helped. I was just dizzy, felt feverish, and little. So hopefully I won't get sick. So I want to just put some things through here. Let's see. Okay. Shambot, my artist, was our piano organ player in our church. He gave free piano lessons to all the kids at his home. All the low income kids were sent to him. He even offered overnight babysitting. Oh
Oh
my
my
God. That
goodness.
is
I'm
just
so
so
sorry.
heartbreaking.
I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry too.
Mm, mm.
It's just the most terrible thing. And
And they're given so much access to
yeah,
children,
yeah.
and people know, like, people know what is happening.
Hmm.
If
Yeah, and it's there's thousands of children, thousands and thousands and thousands. It just
yeah.
breaks my heart. So it's just disgusting. Yeah. Ugh, so horrible. Oh, this is Frisbee Tales. His wife, I've spoken with her. She's an ex fundamental Pentecostal, the
Oh, okay.
United Pentecostal Church. Wife wasn't allowed to do PE in school, had to get a note from the quote pastor because she wasn't allowed to wear anything but the denim uniform to the floor. Yeah. We talked
Wow.
about that. Yeah.
That
Very,
How
very
do you
strict.
move in it?
I don't know. I had a hard time. And I just remember always being sweating because we were always wearing
I
like so
bet.
many layers, and
Yeah.
then your thighs would be sweating. I mean, I I don't know. I just think that like, what if you fall down and your skirt goes up? Isn't that a little bit less modest than just wearing pants?
Right, right.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. Creepy bee. By the way, I saw your little penis would be me. Oh, I think no, I think that was Clearwater Cheryl makes those little she was
Oh,
making the
right.
body
I
like
saw
the body
those.
thetans up there.
Mhm,
Now
mhm.
she makes little Rodney body thetans. Little golden Rodney one.
That's funny.
Isn't that great? So no, I think that was Cheryl's penis actually. Oh my goodness. Chambot, pastor knew he was a pedo, but told him God would heal him from the urges and literally sent him all the kids for private piano lessons. God didn't help his urges though. What do you know? That is disgusting.
It is, it
Yeah.
is.
It
Oh my
reminds
gosh.
Yeah, it reminds me of in Scientology where they're like, "Oh, don't," even with Danny Masterson, it was like, "Oh, we'll handle this internally
Yeah,
because if we put him in the prison system, he won't get the help he needs."
yeah,
That
yeah,
you're just delivering him to the psychs and blah 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 blah. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, well, God will heal them. And it's like, what about the children? You
yeah.
know?
No
I mean,
one
I'm
ever cares.
I'm sounding like Serge right now. I'm just
No one
yeah.
ever cares.
Yeah, it's
It's
terrible.
disgusting. It breaks my heart all the time. Every single time I hear another story, I get my heart broken. I cannot handle, because I'm a child of abuse myself, and I know what it's like to not be protected and to be, the survivor who was treated like the perpetrator, so I
Oh, yeah.
understand what that's like, and I
Get
can't.
blamed. Yeah.
It just breaks my heart every time.
Yeah. From a poet. I know this was from a while ago, poet, but it's fitting right now because we're getting our biscuits are burning. Be having those biscuits burned so early this early in the morning. I know, my God. I tell ya. Oh, we got CO Bilf. D Sweatman. What's that mean? D Sweatman, aka CO Bilf. I'm glad he clarifies that he's CO Bilf. Hello there. Amy Lee SP, I'm obsessed with content about IBLP and similar cults. Thank you. That helped me confront more about my own cult.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Same with, with Scientology on my end, Amy. I say half IBLP because my cult was half Pentecostal, fundamental, Pentecostal, and then half IBLP. So it was like the influences, like the petri dish, like I said.
Like whatever she saw that she liked, she pulled into it.
Exactly. Yep.
Like it's like Keith Raniere. She always reminds me of Keith Raniere.
She looks like him too. I mean, she is 85 now, but you've seen the pictures from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
The mousy brown hair and the Coke bottle glasses and yuck. Yep. Still don't understand it. Never will. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. If I follow somebody, they at least have to be pretty attractive.
Just looking through and see. Oh, yes, it was. It was Clearwater Cheryl and Lori Plays and Tampa B Man with Aaron last night.
That's
and his friend George. Everybody needs a friend George on the side. He has a new channel too. So I'm just looking through to see if I missed anything. Thank you, Joel, for being here. He says I must take my leave.
Oh,
how
bye,
cold
Joel.
how cold is it? It's gosh darn cold here, I think.
You know
don't
what?
ask
I
Duncan.
am not missing New York right now at all. I spent the last 2 winters way up in northern New York, and right now I live in South Cali, so I'm not missing New York at all right now.
Oh, Shambot said their parents found out their 33-year marriage wasn't official. Oh boy, I don't want to hear that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we do file taxes jointly, so I think that's
at some point somebody would have said something.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, really. All right.
Oh my goodness.
What you see?
Nico
something?
says.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Canada? Is that Fahrenheit? It can't be.
It's got to be Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
God. Well, it is January. January. So
when I was in northern New York, it would get really negative. Like there were times it got down -20. -20 isn't unusual, but -30 once every few years or so. Love it. So my husband is stationed at an army base called Fort Irwin. It's down here in the Mojave Desert. So like the nearest city is Barstow, which whenever I say I'm going to this city, it just means Barstow, and it just means Walmart.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it. That's pretty much where I left the house for the first time in several days yesterday, and that's where I went. Right to Walmart. So people have been asking if we can do a Xenu Marlene. I have coffee. I don't even have coffee. I only have water. But let's do one for Doug. If we can.
I've got tea in my Mama Bear mug. On Marilyn's merch store.
Yes, my merch store at Mama Bear mugs. Yes. So let's do a Xenu Marlene for Doug. Cheers. Yes. Don't want to forget Doug. And he was he was very interested in covering other cults. He was really excited about he saw some of our
Yeah.
streams and our stream with Ash that we did on Twin Flames.
Yeah.
And then he ended up doing one. I think it might have been one of the last streams that he did. So yeah, I just want to continue the work, continue getting the word out.
Yeah.
And I had, if the stream happens with Aaron today, we had started this Ask an SP thing with some of my notes that I had when I was talking to Doug, and going into like the origins of Scientology, what it is, what it isn't, what we don't, who the hell knows, right? But
Yeah.
the technology, the quote, why they call it technology, is it a science, is
Yeah.
it religion?
Mhm.
So today we're going to talk about fundamental, like the aspects of a fundamental religion and whether Scientology is, which I think it is, but it'd be interesting to talk to an ex-Scientologist about it. But we're going to shelve that just for the day or for this time, because I want to ask him some questions about what's happening right now. And then, we can always draw parallels, but I really, I like this timely thing of him being Clearwater last night, the whole Streets
Yeah.
LA thing and the momentum. And I have some other questions from before. So yeah, so I think we're going to do that, but we'll see what happens. And then tonight, yeah, with Mark Brown and Mark. There's so many Marks that I call them Mike Brown. And yeah, if you're around, Peggy, that would be really cool, because
Yep.
I'd love for
I
you
will
to
be
meet.
around
I'd
for
love for
sure.
you to meet him and for him to meet you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Mhm.
Nice.
Yeah, and right after this, I'm gonna go watch the video from last night because I'm excited to see what
Yeah.
shenanigans they got into.
Yeah, it's very cool to see Clearwater like all as a cohesive, like they're actually walking through the town. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
I've seen clips of this and that, but it's interesting to see like real time as they're walking through. So,
Mhm.
and I like this idea. Kelly brought this up the other day of, she looks at like stock photos and videos and stuff from before, and they're like all like 2007 and 8 and all that. And so to see the footage of like the Streets LA thing right now, this is
Oh.
happening right now.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
very cool.
So they're using older pictures in like their material and stuff.
Totally. Oh my God. I don't know if there's
Mm.
so much stuff, but even if you just put it on fast forward, the one I did with Kelly the other day, it was hilarious. It was so good because she actually put a lot of thought into it. She took those, those silly what do you call it, testimonial videos where there's these,
Yeah.
lights flashing. Everybody's like, and I could feel my saline, whatever, and LRH, just stared at his red hair, and I went pow, and then this, and I was peed
Oh,
out, and
yuck.
she played some of it, and then she had taken clips of it and put it to scary music and is in a dark background, and it completely changed the video. And she was talking about manipulation, and I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
oh my God, that was genius. It was brilliant.
That's awesome.
So
She's so
very
amazing at
interesting.
that stuff.
Yeah, she is. And then she went through some of these old songs that she had to listen to as a kid. And there was one that said something about we rewound it 3 times. I swear it said something about how to eat roast pigeon.
What?
I don't know if
Oh,
that's what it's
gross.
supposed to say, but it says something about roast pigeon.
No, thank you.
And she had downloaded these sound effects, so every time we heard something that like just was just ridiculously clownish, I would honk like a clown horn. And then anytime that they stole a phrase from the Bible, which happened a lot, there was a Bible buzzer. So we put a Bible.
Okay, I'll definitely watch that
You got
later.
it. It was so hilarious. It was great. The music was painful to listen to. Yeah, everybody was in the chat. It was like, make it stop. And there were so many there's so many SPs in there. It was really funny. Yeah. They're like, oh my God, you're re-traumatizing me. Yeah. So.
Oh my God. Love it. Yes, it is really, really windy here today. Like really windy. And last night was so windy I really couldn't sleep because the whole house was like rattling all night and I couldn't sleep. And the wind in the desert is crazy. So thank you so much for everybody. And I appreciate you guys, all of your kind words. And I love Marilyn's chat. You guys are always so
Aren't
nice.
they awesome? I love it.
Yeah,
They
so
are great.
definitely come over to my videos anytime because I love you all. You
And
guys are all so great.
I just shared your link again.
Oh, thank you.
So please pop over to it's sharing on your channel too.
Mhm.
That's funny. Well, because it says all, that's why.
Right.
So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much. And stay tuned for more. And Peggy and I will do this again, right?
Yeah,
I
for
want to
sure.
keep this up. Love
Yep.
you guys too. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day. See you soon.